The Bell Witch Road. It was late October, the kind of crisp, clear night in Tennessee where the moon hangs like a polished silver dollar. Liam and Chloe Maxwell, a couple of college students from Nashville, were on a road trip, chasing a local legend for a documentary project. They were deep in the countryside, on a notorious stretch of asphalt known simply as the Bell Witch Road. The legend, which every Tennessean grew up hearing, was about a vicious shape-shifting spirit that tormented a farmer named John Bell back in the 1800s. It was the only case in American history where an evil spirit was legally cited as the cause of death, and apparently the ghost or whatever it was never left. Liam, the driver, chewed on a stick of gum. "Man, this is officially the creepiest stretch of highway I've ever been on. And I grew up near a Civil War battlefield." Chloe, perched in the passenger seat with a high-tech audio recorder, shushed him playfully. "It's the atmosphere, Liam. Southern Gothic horror. Look at that fog." The fog was thick now, swirling like dry ice over the asphalt, illuminated in their high beams. It was cold enough to see their breath inside the old Ford Explorer. The first whisper. They had driven for about 30 minutes when they reached their destination, a crumbling vine-covered stone marker that read, "Bell Property, keep out." Liam killed the engine. The sudden silence was heavy. "All right," Chloe whispered, her voice barely a breath. "Setting up the MICS. We'll leave the recorder running for an hour. See what we catch." As she adjusted the directional mic aimed toward the dense woods, the air in the car plummeted. It was like someone had thrown open a freezer door. Liam grabbed his sweatshirt. Then they heard it. It wasn't a growl or a scream. It was a whisper, a dry, raspy sound that seemed to come not from the woods, but from the air right next to Chloe's ear. "Get out!" Chloe froze, her hand hovering over the record button. "Liam," she breathed, her eyes wide. "Did you?" "That was not me," he said, his voice unusually low. They sat there, paralyzed for a full minute, listening to the frantic drumming of their own hearts. The sound didn't repeat. Liam tried to sound brave. Must have been the wind. Or maybe some kind of weird acoustic effect from the trees. "Liam, that was as clear as day. And it was American English, 19th century accent maybe," Chloe countered, already replaying the few seconds of audio she'd captured. The attack. They decided to stay, fueled by a mixture of terror and journalistic ambition. Another 20 minutes passed. Nothing. Just the whir of the recorder and the distant, lonely cry of a coyote. Liam was just about to suggest they pack it in when the Explorer's radio suddenly flared to life. Not a station, but pure, agonizing static, so loud it hurt their ears. As Liam reached for the dial, the static cut out, replaced by a sound that made their blood run cold, a woman's unhinged, high-pitched laughter. It was mocking, venomous, and right inside the car. Then the laughter stopped, and a distinct heavy thud hit the roof of the SUV right above their heads. Thwump. They screamed, scrambling for the door handles, but their hands slipped on the metal. It was as if the handles were suddenly coated in a slick, invisible grease. "The doors! They're locked!" Chloe shrieked, fumbling frantically with the power locks. The laughter returned, louder this time, followed by a new sound, scratching. Fierce, rhythmic claws dragging across the metal roof, moving from the windshield to the back hatch. It sounded like something huge and angry was pacing on top of them. Liam finally jammed his finger onto the unlock button, and the doors gave way with a thunk. They tumbled out onto the damp ground, Chloe still clutching the recorder. The reveal. They backed away, stumbling on the gravel shoulder, their flashlights shaking wildly. They turned the beams back toward the Explorer, expecting to see a maniac or an animal. But there was nothing. The car sat there, headlights glowing in the fog, utterly still. What was it? Liam gasped, struggling to catch his breath. Chloe stared at the vehicle. Look. On the dusty back window of the Explorer, running from the roof down to the license plate, were 4 clear parallel gouges. They weren't just dirt marks. They were deep, white scrapes in the dark paint. And they were long, the length of a forearm. But what chilled them to their core was what was written in the condensation right above the scratches. The moisture on the window had been disturbed, leaving a clear message written backwards so the writer could see it. I am here. And I am not alone. They didn't wait. They jumped back in, not bothering to buckle up, and Liam slammed the pedal to the floor. The engine roared, spitting gravel as they tore back down the road. As they sped away, Chloe looked in the rearview mirror one last time. In the space where the rear window should have been was a fleeting, terrifying image, a dark, indistinct mass that seemed to fill the entire window, dissolving the moment her eyes registered it. The aftermath. Back in Nashville, safe in the bright light of day, they reviewed the audio. The first whisper was there, clear as a bell. The static, the demonic laughter, the loud THWUMP, the scratching. But just as Liam was about to hit the off button, there was one last thing on the tape, buried under the sound of the accelerating engine. It was a chorus of faint, childlike voices singing an old, mournful hymn. And then, one single final whisper, even fainter than the first, yet utterly distinct. Welcome to the South. They never finished their documentary. They sold the Explorer and deleted the main audio file, all but the last chilling 5 seconds. They still live in Nashville, but they've never been back to the Tennessee countryside. They say sometimes, late at night, when the wind blows just right through the eaves of their apartment building, they can hear a very faint, dry and distinctly southern voice whispering, "Are you sure you got out?"